What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another edition of the Talking to the Benfica Podcast. My name is Alfredo Fumaças. With me, as always, Cristiano Oliveira. Cristiano, this time I didn't get you catching a swig of water.
Yeah. What's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to the Benfica Podcast. I'm privileged once again. I hope we're not doing this all over again. And if if it's a repeat, oh well. Privileged once again. We have a special guest in the house today. We have Mr. Fumaças.
Fumaças Senior.
The original Fumaças. He joins us here in studio Zach Torto. Very excited to have him on. Dave, it's unfortunate you can't be sitting here with us sipping back some São Domingos, but he says hi.
Dave the Oliveira. What's happening, Dave? Is Toronto cold yet?
Toronto is cold. The snow is held off for now. Late November and no snow yet. I think there might be some truth to this global warming that people talk about. But yeah, good to be back on here tonight. Like I may have said in an alternate universe, I feel like it's going to be an episode of me defending my my son, my boy, Seferovic. But somebody's got to do it.
Dave, I want to repeat this because I thought this was kind of funny because you said you were only 7 days apart from Seferovic, and I said, you've done that much research about the guy, so you know that he's 7 days apart. So you guys are like, you guys could be brothers, right?
I guess if we were twins, my mother would have had to been in labor for over a week there, but yeah, we're close in age, 8 days apart there.
8 days apart from Seferovic. Thankfully, you've been nothing but accurate on our podcast. So thank you for that. But anyway, we're bringing you today episode number 425 on this week's podcast. Passo Ferreira recap for Taça Portugal. Also, Barcelona match day 5 of the UEFA Champions League. That Benfica traveled to the Camp Nou today to play Barca. So we'll discuss that. And we'll also look ahead to Belenenses SAD game that comes up this weekend, where that will be Benfica's next domestic challenge. But anyway, Cristiano, everything good with you?
Fantastic, man. I'm just excited. We finally got some Freddies here in the chat.
Ugo is here.
Ugo.
Carlos.
That guy's a troublemaker. Carlos, make it. Carlos, all reliable. He's always here with us every weekend.
That's right.
It's Dave, Cristiano, Alfredo, and
I miss
reliable
Hugo.
Carlos.
Send Hugo back into the Zach Torto arena there. Studio.
He doesn't have enough money in his bank account to be able to buy himself a seat next to us.
Nah, I didn't say it.
Yo, I said it loud. He's listening. I said it loud and clear. What are we talking about here today, guys?
Anyway, let's start with the Passo Ferreira game.
That happened?
Portuguese Cup game that Benfica traveled. Wait, no, that was at Estádio da Luz. So Passo Ferreira traveled from the Capital do Móvel to Estádio da Luz to play Benfica.
But you're right. Benfica traveled from Seixal to Estádio da Luz.
Yeah, that could have been. Well, they traveled from the locker room to the pitch too.
No,
a lot of traveling going on
Seixal,
there.
because they meet up as a team and such.
You're right. Yeah. They sleep there. Well, you think they sleep there the night before? Fazer estágio?
Yeah.
Yeah?
I think so.
You think so?
Yeah,
okay.
I know so. Maybe.
Hugo said he was banned from the podcast.
We were already giving him too much airtime.
Yeah, so anyway, Portuguese Cup game coming off of an international break, and those can always be tricky. I'll give you the lineup, and then we'll discuss it. Helton was in goal. Almeida, Vertonghen, and Morato across the back. Radonjic and Grimaldo were the wing backs. Weigl and Jetson. Rafa, Everton supporting Darwin. So this was the 5 changes from the last game against Braga for Jorge Jesus. And this was actually a first start of Jetson with a Benfica jersey this year. I don't know. Not much going on this week. In the first half, because obviously coming out of international break, there's always some rustiness. There's always some that rhythm that you're missing a little bit. So I thought that Benfica struggled in the first half. They didn't play all that great. They didn't play all that great for most of the game. With the exception of the last 15 to 17 minutes. But yeah, we went down in the 52nd minute, a goal by Passo Ferreira. And then
Tá o lineup. Já deste o lineup.
já outra vez.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Where the hell was I? Oh, you did
Estavas
say
aqui, meu amor.
you did say Jetson's first start.
Yeah, Jetson's first start.
Yes. Yeah, my bad.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
No,
That was good. Good to see him.
It was such a memorable game that we don't even remember anymore.
The one thing I think the one remarkable thing about this game that we'll be talking about for years to come is the free kick master. He's back. He hits about one of these a year, so this is it for the rest of the season.
He's hit more than Ronaldo.
Now, Ronaldo hits the wall for sure. Crazy thing about Ronaldo, talking about today's game, you got Dell's next to him, and Ronaldo wants to take the free, but that's another story for another day. But yeah, that was that. Look, say what you want. That was a bomba. That was a phenomenal free kick by him. It's if he could get a little bit more consistent with these, it'd be a thing. It'd be a beauty to see week in, week out. But nonetheless, it was a very important goal that got us right back into the game. And then after that point on, Benfica took off running.
Would you consider him a set piece specialist at this point?
No.
No.
If we're trying to sell him, let's market him as.
If we're trying to sell him, the guy's phenomenal. And not just that. He's a tremendous set piece dude, but he's also a tremendous defender. Don't forget that. For selling this guy, right? He's the best left.
He's got a nice head of hair, also.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm not gonna get there. I mean, look, my hair. I can't be talking about other men's hair. But look, Alfredo. All jokes aside, Benfica, I thought, look, first half, it wasn't the best, but it also wasn't the worst. You know what I mean? So they created a couple of opportunities. Goalkeeper came up big. We've seen the likes of Rafa missing one-on-ones. We've seen the likes of Darwin missing one-on-ones. And this is exactly what we got again in this one game. It's what these guys have done more often than not. We also know that when Rafa's on, he's arguably the best player in Portugal, and he's been Benfica's best player all season long. Let's not hide that fact. But the inconsistency at some point, not being able to put away these opportunities early on when you're supposed to, it's going to cost Benfica. In this game, it didn't cost Benfica. Again, all jokes aside now, Grimaldo stepped up. Phenomenal free kick. Alleviated the pressure a little bit. And after that, Benfica seemed to put the foot to the pedal. Put the pedal to the metal.
Yeah.
Whatever. Yeah, all that. And they looked like a totally different team from that moment on.
No, there's a couple of key points or conversational pieces that you could take out of this, right? First of all, you got the changes. Pizzi came in for Almeida, Tarap came in for Jetson, and it was the return to the 4-4-2 for Jorge Jesus' men. Then we started creating chances with guys that could hold the ball and that could progress on the field. We started creating more chances. We started creating positive possession in the final third, and then Grimaldo's goal came. And then we also add Seferovic that came in a little bit before Grimaldo's goal. Seferovic, who hadn't played for Benfica since August, came back, and sure, he made an impact, right? And Barcelona game aside, right? You could say that Seferovic made an impact, right? You got the go-ahead goal off of a feed from Tarapt, and then he fed Everton for the nightcapper for the 4-1 to end the game. So
he looked lively. He came in. He looked like he wanted to play, and he looked like a guy that hadn't played ball in a while, and he was trying to get the cobwebs off.
Yeah.
So credit to him for being ready. You were talking about the Barcelona. I was really trying not to touch on that until we have to. But yeah, I mean, look, Seferovic, at least in this one game against the Monkus and Passo Ferreira, he did what he had to do. And credit to him again. He has to come. He's come off the reserve or whatever you want to call it. I don't know what they call the IR, the injury reserve. Dave, what do they call it in Portugal? Lista dos Monks, Lista dos Aleijados.
the bulletin board or something like that. The injury.
Bulletin Clinic.
Clinic Bulletin, whatever. He came off of that, and look, he helped Benfica. It's a game that we know We talk so much about it here over the years, how poorly we've done in this competition over the last 30 years in terms of winning it. So look, I understand. Benfica, us Benfica fans, we live for the big moment. We live for these big games, but at the same time, you have to win these other games to get to where you want to go, to get to where you need to be in terms of competing for cups and winning cups and challenging for cups. And look, this is one of those games, and credit to Benfica. Again, not the prettiest of first halves, but I thought they created enough chances, and they did what they had to do in the second half. And Sferovic, man, Sferodeus, at least in this one game,
Yeah.
he was phenomenal. Everton getting on the
Yeah,
score sheet
that's
once
the
again.
other. That's where I was going next. Everton seems to be having a surge in form, which is what we hoped that he would have. We were kind of losing our patience with Everton in terms of what we saw last season towards the end of the season, and now what we've seen earlier this season. We felt that last season when he had that surge that there was his adaptation period, that it was over, and that he was going to start this season and it was going to be the Everton we all know, but he has struggled so far up until now. So apparently he had to go on some kind of podcast, Brazilian podcast.
Had we known that's all it took, we would have invited him here on the Benfica podcast for a while.
You know how many
A while
Benfica
back.
podcasts have said that about Everton when discussing this topic?
But there's only one Benfica podcast.
That's true.
There's Benfica FM. There's only one Benfica FM. I mean, there's only one podcast, Benfica Podcast.
Yeah, no, you're right.
There's Continue Benfica. There's a bunch of, but podcast Benfica. This is it, right? We stole the name, so we got it. So if they want to run off with their naming their own products on YouTube, they
Yeah.
gotta come and see us. Pay us big bucks.
So he was on a podcast, and apparently on the podcast he said that he stays up late to watch Grêmio, which was the team that he came from, to watch Grêmio, and he was really let down. And apparently they got out in the media. He was fined for, I guess, staying up, not only staying up late. I don't think he was fined for staying up late, but
I thought I
definitely
was fine
for going
the,
on a podcast without being authorized by Benfica. And we all know the struggles that we go through to get any official Benfica on the podcast.
I mean,
We've
yeah.
gotten a couple players, but they were a little bit removed from Benfica, right? So
Well, as
we
far
had
as
CJ
far as
on.
getting players on the active roster, it's going to be tough. I don't think they allow the players to do so throughout the year. We've seen so much now with Everton. He got fined, I believe. But they lit a
that's
fire
what we're
up under
talking
his
about.
ass. So I know that's what we're talking about. I'm just saying. So due to the fact that they're fining players, I doubt that these guys are going to appear on
Yeah.
our podcast. Look, I think what we should shoot for is Freddie Adu, Zach Dorto. Yo,
Yeah,
we
you
should
know
get
we
those
gotta
guys
get
on.
Aguiar,
Aguiar.
Fernando Aguiar. We need to
Robot.
get him on.
What about look? We want to get we want to get a active player. They're great, the best defender in the world, according to my boy Neil from Canada. According to my man, Neil, I love you, bro. According to my boy Neil, the best defender in the world, the guy who started at Benfica today, lights out. He's playing at Moreirense. I'm not sure he's starting, but he could definitely start at Benfica. Maybe we can get that guy on the podcast. What do you think, Neil?
Steven Vittorio?
Yeah. Who did I say?
You never said his name.
You never said. You left us in suspense.
Well, Alfredo, I've often said here on the podcast, you completely there it is. See, you picked me up right away.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no,
fine.
and as we got off on a tangent, but as I was saying, Everton seems to be having a resurgence. Michael Machado says, talking about the Pastor game, Radonjic shouldn't be playing wingback. Can't have defensive responsibilities. I agree. These are guys that are trying to get adapted, and after the 17 right backs that we have, and they're all injured, I think this was the next option for the position. So I get that, man. And he went out injured actually at the end of the first half. Radonjic went.
I like what he brings though. That speed, like Chris
He's
always
got
says.
speed. He's got the explosiveness of the first step.
Can't teach speed. So he brings something there. And if we want to talk about defensive responsibilities, then don't look farther than the left wing back position, because Grimaldo's not that great with his defensive responsibilities either. But that's why we kind of have those three center back guys to tie up the defensive
But
responsibilities.
but you do know who is a great defender?
Steven Vittoria.
Capitão André Almeida played his first game as center back against
It's
Paços
not his,
Ferreira.
oh, that's right. This first
Played
game
it.
was
Well, I don't know if it was his first, but at least this season, I believe it's his first game as center back. Just sharpening his skills because he's got what it takes to stop the great superstars in the game. A couple of days later against Barcelona. So JJ always pushing the right buttons. What can I say?
Yeah. It's another experiment, but I think that it takes a lot for a guy to be adapted to a fullback position because you got to have those defensive skills. You got to have that defensive instinct, and I think that it can't all be going forward. Even though that a lot of the teams that we play in the Liga B win, you really don't need fullbacks.
But let's be fair. Look,
Be fair.
I was okay with JJ playing the 3-4-3 and the whole nine when Verissimo was healthy, and I get it. You signed them from Santos in January. You already had Vertonghen. You had Otamendi. The guy wasn't coming here to sit the bench, or you'd have to sit one of the other two veterans. So I understand the move, and he was loyal to his guys, and he had to squeeze these guys all into the lineup. So I was okay with the 3-4-3, 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it at the time. Now, with Verissimo's injury, I just don't understand why he's still insisting on a three center back formation, especially when you've had the difficulties, with all of a sudden, it just seems like everyone that plays right wing back picks up an injury. I don't know if it's just some bad juju or whatever it is, but these guys are all struggling. The only one that seems to stay healthy is my boy Gilberto Carlos, the pretty
Gilberto Carlos.
He looked like he was struggling today. He was sucking in.
It's better. Don't get it better. Don't put
don't get ahead of
the
yourself.
carriage ahead of the horse. Better. We'll get to there. But yeah, I'm surprised he hasn't reverted back to a traditional old school 4-4-2. Get another midfielder in the middle of the park, and
even another forward. I would say even another guy to retract the wingers a little bit more.
See, the only
and put like a supporting guy behind Yaremchuk.
See, yes, but the only problem with that, right? And I've actually bitched about this over the last couple of podcasts, and spoke to Hugo today about this same thing. And I think I've told you this over and over: the lack of creativity. And if you do revert back to a 4-4-2, and you're gonna play Yaremchuk, who's the second guy you're gonna play? I mean, the only guy realistically,
Pizzi.
That's all he took towards out of
That's
my
where
mouth.
you were going?
Pizzi. I mean, but I don't think he's going to insist on Pizzi going forward. My boy Tarap could play there, but it just seems like they're fading him out. You need a spot to play Darwin, right? So you basically have the same exact lineup out there now.
Yeah. No,
With
I don't
Rafa
know.
right mid, you'd have Rafa right mid, Everton at left mid, the two guys in the middle, and then you'd have Darwin and Yaremchuk, which is kind of like what you have now, except the only option is instead of having, a traditional right back playing that old school style, you got the guy doing the whole corridor. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just sitting here and
I would see it with good eyes going back to 4-4-2.
I would just due to the fact that, look, all of a sudden, think about this, and we'll get there, but we had a game where Taça de Portugal against Paços Ferreira. All right, André Almeida playing center back. All right, fine. But then we went to the Camp Nou with André Almeida as center back. You know what I mean? Like, it's one thing to play Paços Ferreira, and it's another thing to be playing Barcelona. I understand it's not the old school Barcelona, but still, it just shows that Benfica has absolutely no confidence in the Ferros of the world. Morato, I don't understand, what's been behind the decision to all of a sudden not use him as much as you thought he'd be used due to the fact that Verissimo got hurt. You figure you get a lot more playing time now.
I think the problem with Morato is that Morato likes that left center back position, and usually what JJ prefers Otamendi in the middle rather than Vertonghen.
Yes.
So if Vertonghen has to slide to the left, that leaves Morato out.
Bro,
I think that's the reasoning behind it.
You're a lefty, right?
Yeah.
All right. The one thing I never understood about you knucklehead lefties, why is it that a righty could play on the left side? All right, you've seen plenty of right backs, right-footed fullbacks playing left back, right? But you never see a lefty play on the right side. Attacking is different because they cut in, yada, yada, yada. I'm talking about on defense. Why don't you ever see a lefty play on the opposite side? You guys are really that uncoordinated?
It's your natural instinct to open your body
but what about
to
the righty?
left.
So
same thing with the
so it's
kind
of like
the rights,
I compare the lefties playing on the right side. I compare it to Spanish people and Portuguese people. Portuguese people can say, "Oye, ven acá, tú sabes," can speak Spanish, but the Spanish people can't speak Portuguese. Have you noticed? It's kind of like the same thing.
No,
Left backs can't play on the right side.
I just think that when you have a dominant foot and you're not ambidextrous, that your natural body movement, you kind of open your body to your dominant foot, and you always tend to pass to your dominant side, which is your left.
I get that, but the same argument you made about the lefties, you can make about the righties. But yeah, we adapt.
But I've seen a lot of righties struggle on the left.
Yeah,
having to switch feet.
That's called they're not good players.
Who was that one fullback we had? One of the Tavares would
he played at right back and he scored a golazo against Sporting. He's now the starting fullback at the Great All Arsenal Gunners Club.
He goes from 8 to 80 in Arsenal. He goes from having an awesome game.
He had a great assist the other day.
And then he
had Chelsea. But it was the wrong team.
You assisted. No, it wasn't Chelsea.
It wasn't Man City. Was it Man City?
You assisted,
or Liverpool.
You assisted Jota.
My man saw
he was showing off for Fernando Santos. He said, "Here, look, I could pass to Jota, no problem. No look even. Look how he did it."
Hey, listen, I got a message sent out. Bruno Barros, our producer. Stop texting me about this youth league game, bro. I don't care. Thank you. All right.
No, anyway, important win for Benfica against Paços Ferreira. Move on to the next round. Obviously, the Jamor has been something that the second biggest objective in the season for Benfica. So a presence at Jamor, and even though we don't know if we're going to be playing at Jamor this year or not, but certainly a presence in Jamor is always something that we aim for. Dave, what are the numbers you have on this game so we can move on?
Yes, the free kick specialist Grimaldo. That was his 5th goal scored from a direct free kick in his career. So put that on his football manager tag.
Fifth goal in how many years?
Wait. That's not counting the one in preseason against Juventus, right?
No, that's not the America one. No.
You got to count that one. That was a beauty too.
Okay.
Yeah, we won a trophy. We won the trophy, so it's got to count for something, right?
Just want to say once again, hello to all the Freddies in the chat. Reigning Entertainment. By the way, man, you got to change that name, bro.
Why? That's his trademark, bro.
That's a trademark. Tomada camisolas. I've read about this, some sort of science. The lefties can't play on the right. I know about all these stuff. I got all this useless information in my head.
You read science?
Yeah, there's some science behind that lefties can only think about left. They can adapt.
It's possible. It's a lot easier to make a pass to your dominant side than to go across your body. And I'm just talking from my point of view.
I'm with you, but all the arguments you're making could be said for a right-footed too.
Yeah.
Let's not offend the lefties and the righties. I know there's a lot of Twitter talk about the left side and the right side.
Hey,
so let's not.
We're keeping it to football. Football. Look, what is it? Patrick Sawdust.
Swalford.
He's from Louisiana. We got loyal Freddies from all over the world. I love this is my favorite thing. My most entertaining thing here is the Freddies. Rainy is you call one of your buddies. Oh, never mind.
Is who you call for one of your buddies' bachelor party. Reigning Entertainment.
Who's this? This is Nani Hernani. Our boy chipping down. Hernani?
No, it's definitely not Hernani.
Definitely not Hernani.
Reigning Entertainment. That sounds like fun, man. That's
and Hugo's calling you out. I guess because I know it wasn't me. You said that Otamendi's a liability.
Who did?
Hugo's one of you guys.
I never said that. We were actually
Otamendi vulnerable. He's been the best Benfica signing in years. We need more Otamendi type of signings. That's Hugo's contribution to the pod. Thanks, Hugo. Turn it off now. Go to sleep.
Maybe that's why he was banned from the studio.
No, but
Anyways, I was in the middle of my stats here.
Go ahead,
Oh,
Dave.
you were?
But Rafa's now Benfica's top goal scorer this season with 9 goals scored. And Seferovic has scored his 70th career goal for Benfica, 16 of those coming from the bench. And his first goal since June 28th, where he scored a brace against France in the Euro Cup.
The thing that saddens me the most about Seferovic is when you look at that goal tally that he's had in his Benfica career, and you see the other names that are in the same plateau of goals. I mean, guys that have nothing to do with Seferovic in terms of their ability and what they meant for Benfica. But hey, it's a new day.
Yeah, but look, I mean, you could say the same thing about Pizzi when you, in terms of
That's right.
midfielders. And then again, we can keep adding. In terms of titles, you can say Andre Almeida is one of the. He's one of 3, right?
You're right.
He's what was it 3?
No, 4.
What's that one called?
Tetra.
Tetra. He's one of Tetra.
Teta.
Right? I mean, so when you, in terms of guys that are on this team that got historical numbers behind them, yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I mean, Pizzi, Seferovic, say what you want. Seferovic is like a roller coaster. 1 year, he's a buy. And then
1 year, 1 game, the next game.
Look, the guy scored 30 goals last year. He led Benfica in goals. But the year before, I don't think he was really good. So, like, he's up and down. Like every other year. So if he scored what? He scored like 20 last year, right? He came in second.
The thing
goals
with Seferovic is...
No, he was tied with Porro. Not Porro, Pot.
Yeah. The thing with Seferovic is that when you look at his numbers, that what he finished off for the season, you will never know, unless you watched every game, how many opportunities he actually missed to get those 30 goals for the season. Incredible. What do you think the ratio is, Cristiano?
What?
For how many misses per goal?
I mean, but
1
again,
for every 5, 1 7,
Yeah,
1
but-
10.
look. I think you guys aren't fair with him. And I've said this to you.
Not fair with Seferovic.
Yeah, I think you guys aren't fair. Look, the problem with Seferovic is when he misses, bro, he's not even like my man, like square on it. He's nowhere near, and it's like, oh my, it's disastrous. Because then you look at the opportunities that Rafa gets. You look at the opportunities that Darwin. I mean, I bet you over the last 2 years, well, year and a half, Darwin's missed more opportunities than Seferovic, but they're not talked about as much because Seferovic will miss what we see, the sitters of all the motherload of sitters, right? And we'll get into that, but that stands out. But what about the 8 chances that Darwin just missed in order to score one? Like,
Well, that,
I think you're unfair.
I don't think that Darwin. I get that, but I don't think that Darwin even has the feet to set himself up to have a nice finish.
But he gets to that point though. But he gets because of his speed, his ability to beat defenders one-on-one physically. I think those are the only strong suits that he has. But whatever, he uses that ability to his the best of his advantage. But dude, the guy misses chance after chance after chance. Where Seferovic will get half of the chances he gets, converts 2, but the other 2 is like, dude, come on, dude. I mean, it's atrocious misses. So again, I've told you this last year, and I'll keep saying it over and over. It's just guys, Freddy's, check out last year's podcast and you'll see. I always felt that he got a little bit of unfair treatment by the fans because he does. At the end of the day, as bad as he might have been, as many chances as he might have missed last season, he still finished with 22 goals in the league last year, Dave? I think it's 21, 22. He was still right there. I mean, say what you want. What about the other guys?
26 overall.
Not in the league, though. I'm talking about league goals.
Yeah. Let me bring that up.
Yeah, he finished second behind Pot, and I think Pot beat him last game 23. Last game, he scored like 2 or 3 goals.
Yeah.
So, I mean, again, as bad as he's been at times, he's still leading your team in goals. So what's that say about the other guys? So, I mean, let's just try to look. We need to support this guy, especially over the next couple of weeks, because it's going to be rough on the dude mentally, and
it's rough, man.
But Seferovic is not a superstar.
But he
shouldn't
doesn't
be in.
get paid to be the superstar either, right?
Yeah, but when you're starting at Benfica, people expect
Yeah,
you
but
to they hold you to a higher standard. And then the problem is that he's not Portuguese, and some of these guys, I feel some of these guys get get that unfair treatment by the fan base because they're not Portuguese and they want to see their own kids get promoted, and so they start holding them to a higher standard. Because even those kids, when they get an opportunity, you see them shanking, but yet people are a lot more. Dave, you've seen it in other American sports and whatever. It seems that fan bases are more patient,
tolerant.
tolerating towards their own homegrown than they are from the ones on the outside. And Svedovic, unfortunately, falls into that category. A lot of people were upset that Benfica made the choice to keep him over Mitroglou, for example,
Right.
and stuff. And so it's unfortunate, but people don't know how to just get over certain things. And you see the Darwins of the world missing chance after chance. You see Gonzalo Ramos obviously doesn't get the same amount of minutes, but you've seen him miss some stuff in front of goal. But yet they don't get that backlash for some reason, where Svedovic does, and I think it's unfair.
Yeah, the tolerance level is certainly you can almost say it's a double standard, really, for the guys like Seferovic and Darwin, as opposed to Gonzalo Ramos or any other kids that come up. Um, but really, I understand what Dave was saying in terms of he doesn't have the star statue or status that that both Darwin for the money that we spent on him, and obviously Yaremchuk comes highly touted, even though he hasn't been able to do anything. But I think Yaremchuk is a victim of the system that he plays in. But anyway, let's move on now to since we've been talking about Seferovic already. Let's move on to the Barca game. Benfica traveled to Camp Nou to match day 5, still holding their destiny in their hands. Obviously, for the first time that the two teams met, Benfica won. Was it 3-0? Surprising 3-0 at Stadio Luz. A Barca team that was led by Ronald Koeman at the time. They have since sacked him. They brought back an old legend from the club, Xavi Hernandez, who is now taking over. It was his second game in charge of Barcelona, and I think we start to see a little bit of difference. I think that definitely the locker room is a little bit more united around him than they were with Koeman, and I think that we're starting to see something. Look, I'll give you the lineup and then we'll discuss the game. But Vlaco Dimos in goal, Almeida, Otamendi, Vertonghen, Gilberto, and Grimaldo on the sides, Weigl, Romario, Rafa, and Everton behind Yaremchuk. Cristiano, were you surprised that Yaremchuk got the start instead of Darwin?
I was. I don't think it made a lot of sense. Because I thought Benfica was going to have to defend a lot today. As you mentioned, with Xavi as the coach, you start seeing, I know it was one game prior, but you start seeing, if you watch that game, you saw that the team held a lot more possession. They got back, a lot of that tiki taka that identity that they had in years previous under Pep Guardiola, and you can tell he's going to try to implement similar system style. And so I thought Benfica is going to have to defend, is going to have to chase the ball a lot. I've told you guys here on the podcast, and I'll say it over and over. I'm still not ready to. I mean, not ready. I shouldn't even say that. Whatever. I'm still a Yaremchuk fan. Okay, but I think you have to understand the type of players that you're acquiring. You have to understand the system that you're going to play in order to get these guys to be successful. And Yaremchuk is a guy that needs service into the box. He's not a guy that's not a very agile guy. He's not a guy that's going to sit up there and press all day. He's a guy that if he's not getting the ball in the box, he's really not going to do anything else for you. So why play him in a game like this when you knew you're going to have to sit back and press all day long and defend and try to catch Barcelona on the counter because you knew they were going to have the ball for 60, 65% of the time. I just didn't think it was smart on JJ's part. That being said, with the addition of Rafa, and then Yaremchuk hoping to get an opportunity to get on a scoreline, I think maybe, and again, I don't like it, but whatever. I think what he was trying to do is tire out the Barcelona defense, let Rafa come in, apply the pressure, be the speedster up and down the field, and then bring in a Darwin in the second half when these guys are a little bit more exhausted, and then have him take advantage of that and use his physicality. Unfortunately, the Darwin that we saw today was nowhere near the Darwin we saw at the Stadio de Luz. It looked like a totally different player. He couldn't get his feet from under him. He was fighting himself. He wasn't even fighting the adversary. It looked like a totally different Darwin than what we've seen lately. And so, very unfortunate. But I did think that JJ got that wrong from the start.
Yeah. No, and that's funny that you're saying that, because as I'm watching the game now, before I came over, I was telling my dad that the fact that, maybe the logic behind it was that to take advantage of the Barca defense with Darwin, now with the explosiveness, and also feeling that Barca would come forward.
And then it was
because Barca
raining.
wanted
The
the
ball, the pitch was going to be heavy. The ball is going to be
Right.
heavy. Well, we can't even say the ball is going to be heavy now because now they switch balls. Back in the days when we played, the ball got heavy.
Yeah, synthetic.
But at least the field was going to be heavy, right? Because of all the
Yeah.
rain. And so you figured, and I see what he's thinking. These guys are going to get exhausted. The legs are going to get heavy. They're going to get tired. Bring in this freaking beast from the sideline to come in and attack these guys head on. And it was just unfortunate to see that Darwin that showed up today. This is not the Darwin that his agent has been touting over the last 2 weeks, that all the big clubs are interested. I mean, if this was one of those show me moments, this is not one of those moments you want to throw in your highlight reels. I mean, absolutely not. It's not a very good performance on his part. But
No.
again, look,
Well, at least he
JJ
didn't-
almost got it right.
At least he didn't screw up that counter. That
He almost
pass to
did, but you
Steph-
seen that? See
Yeah.
how close he passed it?
It was under the Barca player's leg.
Dave, I'm gonna help you out, Dave. I'm gonna help you out because you want to defend your son on this. I think that pass caught Sferovic off guard because I think Sferovic thought it was going to be intercepted. This Sferovic, oh, caralho, it's here. Oh, my, hey, oh, shit, oh. I'm telling you, I think it was something like that because Darwin, because I'll let you go. But as soon as I saw that 2-on-1, I swear on my life, ladies and gentlemen, Freddy's, if you watch, see, I got my hands up in here. I swear, the first thought that came to my mind was, watch, he's going to fuck this up. He's going to pass it to the defender. I swear. And then he almost did, but he didn't. So credit to him.
I don't know. Yeah, but as I'm watching that and thinking about the counterattacks that he's led and that he's screwed up because he's either not made the pass correctly or he's missed the timing on the pass, I was like, please don't F this up. Please don't F this up. And he was able to pass it, and the Barcelona player almost intercepted it, went under his back leg as he's running forward. And then Seferovic, I thought he was going to shoot it. I thought it took a lot of balls for him to try to chip Ter Stegen. And then once he chipped Ter Stegen, I was like, man, this is in the back of the net.
He chipped it was a dud. Like, oh, shit.
It chipped it. It hit his head.
It was a dud.
And it fell to him. And I don't know if the fact that it hit his head, it kind of threw off the direction of the.
You guys are being too nice.
I don't know, man. I'm just trying to find.
Bro,
answers.
it was like.
But I'm curious to know how many people put their foot through the TV, because I remember I was at work, and obviously this was already past.
This is gonna be one of those moments because you just made me laugh. You're like, I remember. It's gonna be 30 years from now. I remember because like every tragic thing in life, you remember exactly where you were wearing, where you were at. Like 9/11. I'll never forget. And this is gonna be one of these.
Where were you when Seferovic had that?
I still remember like it was yesterday. I was wearing brown shoes, white socks, yellow pants, and Seferovic missed it. I remember like it was yesterday. It's gonna be one of those stories gonna tell your kids in 30 years.
It's gonna be an infamy that
it was.
And then JJ on his knees. That's
yeah.
That 2.0.
That's never.
No, but this one was worse. The other one's just on his knees. This one is on his knees, and he was on all fours.
He was praying to Allah. I don't know. He was doing something.
Which is not, which is cool. But I don't know if he was facing the sun though.
No, it was no sun. It was raining.
But still, you have to face the sun.
Oh no! But what happened was, I was at work, and obviously I had the game streaming on a tablet, and I was kind of just side eyeing it from time to time. And I remember catching that, and I saw the whole thing develop: the counterattack, the pass to Seferovic, the Seferovic chip of the goalie. And then I was thinking to myself, this is gonna be in. This is gonna be in. And then he misses that, and all I said was, "For this," like loud in the office. I don't know if anybody heard me.
The only one in the office at that.
There was a couple people in the office, but
when he chipped him, I swear, when he chipped him, I'm like, oh my god. And then, oh my God, it got through. But then all of a sudden, she's the ball just died. I'm like, what the? And then you see him shot. I'm like, okay, it's in. And then I'm like, ah. Did he really shoot? I mean,
You
Dave.
you would think
Dave,
the chip is the hardest part. He got that right, so
Yeah.
it's
Dave.
smooth sailing from there.
Did he? How? I mean, he was squaring them. How did he miss the whole goal? I don't understand.
You try to
I feel
soul
bad
it.
for the guy because this is a
I
moment
do.
that's
I
Yeah,
feel
I,
bad.
if
I do
if
feel bad for
if in the next match day, Benfica doesn't find a way to win, or forget Benfica winning. Benfica winning. If Barca doesn't get tripped up in Bayern, which I'm a little preoccupied because Bayern's got nothing to play for. Probably going to play all their youngsters. I understand their youngsters are still a lot better than probably Benfica's starting 11. But still, it's not going to be most likely not going to be their strongest 11. So things can get difficult here if Benfica doesn't advance, and this is going to be over his head for a while.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys heard, but there's a big surge in Germany with COVID, so Bayern's got to play the game behind closed doors against
Yeah.
Barcelona as well.
Yep.
So
Which might play in Barca's favor, obviously, because the atmosphere is not there. But I agree with Boris, man. As a player, when you miss something like that in a game of this magnitude, that sticks with you. He's got a sleepless night ahead of him for sure,
No,
man.
but I think what Boris is referring to is his children. Isn't he having any popping children left and right? He's not sleeping right. That's what he means. He ain't getting enough sleep.
He's not missing that hole for sure.
Yeah, that's we don't know that. You don't know how many chances it took. Call me.
Yeah.
Call me. You guys
maybe it's the same efficiency rate that he has for goal too,
My
right?
man probably hitting the belly button all the time. You never know. He finally got it right.
No, but but I thought that after their initial from the beginning of the game, after their initial push from Barca, I thought that Benfica kind of evened out the game in the last third of the first half, and I thought that Benfica went into the locker room on a high note. And I think that that suited the team well, and that helped the confidence. In the second half, we come out. We make some substitutions in the 59th minute. Darwin for Yaramchuk, Tarap for João Mario, Pizzi, and Lazaro also came in, but that was in the 70th minute. But I got to be honest with you, Cristiano, and I know that at least I do. We hammer a lot on JJ, and I thought that JJ, in terms of the timing of his substitutions and his read of what the game needed, I thought he was perfect today because he realized when Everton and Rafa were tired, he made that substitution when he needed. I think that the Darwin for Yaramchuk, as you mentioned, kind of falls in that game plan of the defense is tired. Let's hit him up with some speed now. And then I think that the Lazaro, especially that Lazaro substitution, because Dembele was running around circles, Grimaldo. So he lowered Lazaro on the field to left back, and he pushed Grimaldo a little forward. And Lazaro, to his credit, was able to shut down Dembele.
All right.
So I think he did well.
Yeah. Two things. One, I would have liked to have seen Rafa and Darwin on the field at the same time, applying the same type of pressure, using their speed. And I get it. Rafa might have been a little bit exhausted, but I still would have liked to see those two on the field at the same time. Then the other one, which was, you're right with the substitution with Lazaro. Well, think about this. You got a guy that's not a natural defender taking on the beast like Dembele, who was just over there with his dancing shoes. And look, credit to him, he did well enough, and Benfica, I think, played a good enough defensive team, like, how do you do team defense, right? They did enough to stifle them. But that being said, I had a problem with JJ's substitution of
Which one?
Grimaldo for what was it, Seferovic.
Seferovic.
I had a problem.
Why?
And I'll explain to you why.
Go ahead.
Because once you did that, right? If you saw, like, again, you made that substitution, bringing in Lazaro to handle who at the time was the most dangerous player on the field. So, I mean, look, say what you want about Dembele. He came on, and as I stated before, my man was dancing with everybody. And when you made that substitution to clog up that hole and try to be, a lot more fresher defensively and physical, because Lazaro's more physical than Grimaldo. But then once you did that, and you took out Grimaldo and you inserted Seferovic up top, and then you kind of had Darwin playing that role of tracking back and being the guy
on
that's
the
going
left, yeah.
to help the Lazaro, who's going, again, as I stated before, is not a natural defender, who's going to probably struggle at times with Dembele. So he was the guy that was, and he did on a couple of occasions. One in particular, he came back. My man must have been running 100 miles an hour. He got into the box and he was able to get his foot on the Dembele cross, whatever. But there was a lot of other times that I thought that Darwin wasn't doing the necessary tracking back to help out Lazaro. Go watch the game. You see there's instances there where he's walking and he's not in position to help him out. And it left Lazaro in a lot of one-on-ones, right? And I just thought it was counterproductive. I thought again, if you're going to make that substitution, if you want to impact that side of the defense because of this guy, how dangerous he is, you have to give me someone who's a little bit more disciplined than a Darwin is. Watch the game again after I told you this and then tell me if I'm wrong. Pay attention to that and you'll see if I'm wrong.
Unless JJ's thinking is he's trying to hit Barca with the counterattack. One thing we're forgetting to mention here, Grimaldo was also on the yellow card too.
Yeah.
No, but Dave, I'm not saying not to take out Grimaldo. Pay attention. I never said you shouldn't have taken. I get why he took him out. The dude was, look, he's playing back on a club that he was formed in, right? The pressure's probably got family, and he's probably trying a little bit harder. He's exhausted. We stated before, it was raining. It was a heavy pitch. Fine. I'm not saying Grimaldo shouldn't have come off. I didn't like the move of bringing out Grimaldo with basically a like-for-like replacement at the time, which was not a like-for-like, but his direct replacement, which was Darwin to play in that defensive role. I didn't like that move.
Yeah.
Not the taking out Grimaldo. You get what I'm saying, Dave? It's just when you take out a guy that's got a presence, a defensive presence for a guy that's not going to give me that effort, I just think it's counterproductive.
Who I'm just looking at the other subs here. Who would you have put in that position? You got Mete on the bench. You got Jetson there, Gonzalo Ramos as well, and you got Seferovic is who you ultimately brought on.
You could have better look. I
mean,
I'll go. Off
here's
on a tangent
here's the way I'll explain it. To me, I like the substitution because it showed intent that Benfica wanted to win the game. Now, if you're just putting a guy in just to plug a hole defensively, that shows you that you don't want to win that game. So I understood the move. JJ wanted to win the game,
but Alfredo,
and he felt that he had the options and he had something that he could have won the game.
But when you bring in a midfielder to play that defensive role, guy that's not a natural defender, again, you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. I didn't understand. I didn't like it. I would have brought in a Jetson. To be honest.
But what if Jetson offered just defense?
That's it. But Jetson has the ability to spring.
So then we're fine with the 0-0 score line.
Right.
But that's what we got anyway.
No, but it says a lot about the intent was that we wanted to win the game.
I get what you're saying, but once you make that change defensively, right? You're telling me I had to bring on the fresh guy because the guys on the field right now are not going to be able to handle this guy one-on-one, right? And you didn't bring a natural forget a lefty. You didn't bring a natural defender for that assignment. You get what I'm saying?
Well, Lazaro is a natural left back.
Lazaro?
He could play left back and right back.
Dude, the guy's been a midfielder most of his
No,
career.
he hasn't.
Yes, he is. He's a midfielder. He plays a wing back.
Dave,
he's a wing. First of all, he's a righty. He's not even on the left.
He could play left fullback and right fullback.
I just
left
didn't
Football Manager has him on down the wings on both sides, left and right. But I think Chris is a little bit more right there. He brings more. He was more of an attacking player than he was a defender.
He did a lot. I'm telling you, he did very well to shut down Dembele.
He did. I'm not going to disagree. With that point there.
You basically, by putting Darwin in that position, you basically left
you exposed
Lazaro one-on-one with Dembele. That's what you did. I didn't like that.
Which he was, I don't know. I thought he was doing okay at the time.
He was with help.
Yeah, there was a couple times that Grimaldo came and doubled him up.
Not just Grimaldo, but even Darwin on 2 occasions that I remember. But again, watch the game. When you watch it again, just watch from that point on, the 25 minutes or whatever it was that Lazaro was, and then you just pay attention to Darwin, and then tell me if I'm on the next podcast. We could come back to this conversation. You can tell me if you see what I was talking about or not. I just thought you left them there to dry a little bit. And I didn't like that because, again, you're making that specific move and then you're backing away from that specific move.
Are
I
we
didn't like
having this conversation if Seferovic puts that in the net, though?
No, we're
No,
not.
I still would have told you I didn't like the move. Why? So, like, I would have liked the move if Svedovic scores?
No, but
Came in, didn't he?
it certainly played into the plan. The plan was to win the game.
Okay, but you can still sometimes you get positive results on occasions and decisions that weren't the smartest. And look, it worked out, but again, it wasn't the smartest decision.
But
It's happened plenty of times.
Yeah, think about this. Think about where that counter came from. That counter came from Darwin's feet, and it came from the right, or actually mid right. So Darwin wasn't even on the left, wasn't even covering the
No,
left.
Darwin took off. Darwin took off. Good for
So
him.
I
Again,
just-
but what you're saying, you're
I
giving me
understand.
he's not
It's a
disciplined to
defensive
play that role.
vulnerability. It's a defensive
And you just the
vulnerability.
guy was all over the field again. So why ask him to do that role when you know yourself he's not disciplined to do it?
I understand, but
It's
the
counterproductive.
intent was to gamble
Okay,
to see if you could win the game. All the meat on the barbecue.
watch it and tú vas a dar razón.
No, I completely understand what you're saying, but the intent was we want to win this game. We got to put somebody with speed and also a guy
Well,
that
look.
could probably maybe finish. And he's riding Seferovic hot hand or hot foot from
minute-
last weekend.
The minute the guy Tarap comes on the field, we know the opportunity. You know the
That
the
doodle shot.
odds of winning this game just went up.
No,
Tarap, yo, that one pass where Tarap cocked back and he faked the shot and he passed. I think it was the Svedovic who then took a shot and got blocked. But when I seen a guy, I said, "Epa, it was," but
We're still waiting.
we're still waiting.
yeah, I did see you cocked that. Even the pass wasn't all that great.
What do you mean it wasn't all that great?
It could have been better.
You guys are so unfair to that dude, man.
I
It's
think
amazing.
that
Could have been better.
Taraptas
All,
had his.
all Svedovic got to do is stop, trap the ball, stop on his ref, pass it to Darwin, who was coming behind him, making a run behind him, and all of a sudden it's a totally different play. So it's a bad pass because Svedovic once again made the wrong decision with the ball.
No, I just think that Tarap's cycle has come to an end at Benfica.
Nobody's disputing that, but in today's game, what did Tarap was bad today, right? That's what you're gonna tell me.
I don't think he was bad, but I don't think he was exceptional either.
I didn't say he was exceptional. I said I seen him
I just
cocking
thought
back
he
and I
was
got
okay.
excited. That's what I said.
He always ends up getting a yellow card for his street sign arms.
That's fine. That's fine.
Dave, stats on this game.
We forgot to mention with the Manku Master PT being subbed into this match. That was his 350th Benfica appearance. He's got 93 goals, 92 assists, and 10 titles won. So if you want to talk about how we were talking about Seferovic in the master class of Benfica history, I guess we got to put the Manku Master in the museum too with his 350th appearance there. Benfica will need to beat Dinamo Kiev in the next match day and hope that Barcelona do not beat Bayern Munich to qualify for the knockout rounds. But we have some history on our side. The last time Benfica had 5 points through match day 5 of the Champions League group stages in 2005-2006, they managed to qualify for the knockout rounds and made it all the way to the quarterfinals that year.
Dave, piece of advice. Go to your local
7-Eleven.
sporting goods store. Trade in your Svedovic shirt for a Peasy shirt.
No,
Oh, man.
can't do that.
Don't do that.
I'm telling you.
Don't do that.
You just stated all those facts. 92 goals, 92 assists, 10, I don't
10
know,
titles.
10 titles. That's what it was. It's phenomenal. There's not very many players in Benfica lore that's done that. I'm telling you.
Yeah. So
Look, Hugo saying put some respect on Peasy's name. Telling you, Dave, Peasy don't miss that today.
I think that no, Pizzi wouldn't have missed.
He
I
doesn't
think
get
he
that
is one of the-
opportunity.
Yeah, Pizzi's one of our best finishers, if not the best finisher we have on the squad.
Yeah, hence why we
Peasy's
haven't
good.
won a title in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah, because he hasn't played. Overall, I thought it was a good game by Benfica. I thought that the game could have went both ways, but I think I accept a tie because of what both teams did. Barcelona with more possession, obviously. with some good opportunities, but Benfica had their opportunities also.
I wasn't happy with the game.
You weren't happy?
No, it was way too defensive. Way
No, the
too
game was
much,
open at some point.
too much time chasing the
Wait,
ball.
wait. The game was too defensive, but you didn't like when he brought in Seferovic to.
It's different times in the game, but I think for most of the game, Benfica was chasing the ball, Dave. I'm not even forget about the substitutions. At the end of the day, substitutions still had all 11 men behind the ball, and you're still trying to counter. Didn't matter. It was just different options. Guys that had fresher legs, guys that would try to spring. It didn't change the game plan. We're going to defend, and I thought Benfica defended a lot. I thought there was a lot of times Benfica got the ball, and it was as if, and I've complained about this in the Bayern game, Bayern, and I've told you this both times. It seemed as if every time Benfica player got the ball, it's like a hot potato. Like, yo, we can't again. Like for those of you, and I'm gonna use this term again, that are tennis fans, you understand. You've heard about unforced errors. I think there's Benfica does or commits too many unforced errors with the ball. A lot of not even with pressure. It just seems like we give the ball up way too easily. I didn't like the way we play. Now, we're going to take the result, right? The 0-0 at Camp Nou. Look, it's better than the loss at Camp Nou, right? I mean, look at our numbers historically. They're not all that great against the likes of Barcelona. So, look, it's still a positive result. Benfica's still alive. If Bayern does what they have to do, Benfica does what they have to do at home against Kiev. At the beginning of the Champions League, whatever knockout stage, not knockout, group stage. If coming into prior to that game in August, the very first August, September, whatever the hell it was, Champions League game. If I would have told you, look, Benfica is going to go into the last match day with an opportunity to advance from the group. Barcelona has to go to Bayern. We have to beat Kiev. Would you sign up for it? And you would. So in those terms, I'll take it. But as far as the game itself, bro, this is still a far cry from the Benfica that I want to see on the field. I thought Benfica showed way too much respect. There wasn't enough. Again, it wasn't about Benfica never seemed like they were in that game. They had a couple of minutes where they touched the ball around, yada, yada. But when Barcelona put it on, Barcelona took the ball, the pressure. And it's like it gets me furious because at the end of the day, Benfica does have a bunch of international. We're not talking about some players that are struggling to play at this level. We're talking about guys that are playing for their own national teams, guys that are playing in high pressure pack, situations. And yet, look at the game. Too many freaking unforced errors, and it's just like, why? Keep the ball yourselves.
Now, Boris, I don't necessarily agree with the players because, as Cristiano mentioned, I mean, you got Vertonghen, you got Otamendi, you got a lot of players who played in an international stage. I just think that the mentality is still something that's club driven, and we need somebody to inject that mentality, somebody to inject that mystica, somebody to remind the players that are there that Benfica is one of the most well-known clubs in the world in terms of football, albeit not in recent times, but Benfica is an historical club, and I think that sometimes players lose sight of that. I also think that a lot of the expectations or lack of expectations that as a fan base we have kind of driven down the level of quality that Benfica has had over the years. So I think there's a lot to obviously digest in what I just said, but I think it comes more at a club level than players. Because if you look at players, man, all players that have international experience, really, you got Everton who's played a national team, Vertonghen, Otamendi, who played at national. João
Your
Mario,
boy Darwin's played
Weigl,
Sverovic's played in World Cups and Euros.
Yeah. So I mean,
Pizzi, Rafa,
I don't
all
think
these
they
guys.
lack European experience or being at this
Andre
type of
Almeida's
stage.
played on the national team. I
Right.
think the only guy today playing at Benfica that didn't have national team experience, talking about senior level, was Grimaldo.
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't think he's been capped.
I don't think he's been capped by the main.
And
He's obviously played.
Gilberto Carlos.
Gilberto's got to have played for
Yeah, but
Brazil.
that's on the way. After this,
Gilberto's played for Brazil. Nah, vai lá, ver. Nah, never.
Dave, what else we got on this game so we can move on? Are you done?
I don't have anything else, but I think we should. I'll raise my hand and eat crow on Otamendi. I wasn't the biggest fan of his signing, but man, was he a beast today. I'll eat crow on that one all day.
Today, just today, Dave.
just well, like today, I would like
Yeah,
hands down. But
he's
since the second half of last season, he's really turned it on. But
yeah. I
today
mean,
was something special.
if we had to do our end of season awards right now, for me, Otamendi would be the MVP.
And a lot of Benfiquistas they didn't want to sign him because he played with the
Well,
blue team.
you remember what we said here? We
I
really
didn't
didn't
care.
care.
I didn't care.
We didn't care
I didn't care where he played as long as he
he's
comes
a
in and
professional.
defends my shirt. That's all that
Right.
matters. Now, I know our friend Hugo's dying because he loves controversy. He likes to talk
Hugo
about but Hugo
ate
wants
crow.
to talk about
He ate crow
No, he didn't.
because he was against
No,
Otamendi.
no, he
was he
wasn't.
not?
No, he's saying he was
He's never
pro
been.
Otamendi in the
He's
chat.
always been pro Ultimate. He's always
Okay.
been pro. Him and I actually we agreed on whatever. We don't agree on a lot, but that we did. But he wants to speak about the dubious call on the goal. Another Otamendi's phenomenal finish. If Svedovic maybe should take some finishing lessons from him, he'll improve a lot. But I look.
Yeah, I don't.
I
know,
can't
man.
go crazy. I haven't gone crazy for two reasons. One, I haven't seen a clear replay
Yeah.
where it showed me that the ball didn't go out. Just like I didn't see one that showed me that the ball went out. I haven't seen it. So look, it looked like it took a little bit. It was like a delayed reaction by the linesman to raise his flag. He could have raised it right away. You know, Benfica got the time to get a header on the ball. Otamendi gets it, shoots it, and then the flag goes up. It looks dubious. It looks very questionable. We've known that Barcelona's got the moniker, the nickname UEFA for a reason.
UEFA.
You know, Portuguese teams always tend to get the short end of the stick in European competitions. But I'm not going to get into all that. Look, at the end of the day, with all that being said, and whether Benfica got jobbed or not, the game was still in our own destiny. And call it what you want. 14 had it in his foot, and we didn't capitalize on it.
I'm just surprised that there aren't angles that would show that. Usually, we'll get a goal line angle that's even with the end line, and we never saw that angle today.
If that was Barcelona, you'd have 50 angles.
Yeah, right. So look, I don't know. We have to give the linesman the benefit of the doubt because he's the guy that's closest to the line out of everyone. The referee has to go with his linesman because he's closest to the line. So I don't know, but it kind of leaves you a little bit to thinking, right? Because it wasn't called right away. It was only after the ball went in that he raised his flag. So it leaves you thinking. But anyway, I thought it was a good result from Benfica, which I wish our destiny was in our hands. But certainly, if you beat Dinamo Kiev, there's a good chance that Barcelona will not beat Bayern. But we shall see because there's a lot of things going on with Bayern right now. Players not wanting to get vaccinated. Germany locking down. There's this whole thing, and we still got a couple weeks until that fixture happens. So we shall see. But we just need to do our job and hope that the cards fall our way.
But we should never strive to be better and do better. Again, if this
we should never strive to be better and do better.
We should. No, I'm sorry. See, Alfred, that's why you complete me. We should never stop striving to be better.
No, I agree with you.
And I can't, for the life of me, I can't be content with today's performance. If this was at whatever it's called, Audi Arena over there in Bayern Munich, I'd be content. With this weaker Barcelona, even though it's already got Xavi's fingerprints all over it, it's a much improved Barcelona compared to the one we played at Stade de Luz a month or two ago, whatever it was. All that being said, it's still not the most dominating Barcelona. I think to be content to be here and praising Benfica's performance today, I think it shows where we've dropped. I think the fan base recently has just started accepting very little.
You got to look at
It's not Benfica. I don't think Benfica.
You got to look at the overall quality of the game that Benfica played. Very well organized. They weren't outplayed.
Bro, the difference with today's Benfica organizing today and Benfica Bayern was that Bayern finished and Barcelona didn't. That's the difference.
I get it. No,
That's
I think
if
Bayern was a lot more dominant.
nobody's saying that, but if Barcelona scores a couple goals, all of a sudden everyone's talking about how organized defensively we were. Again,
Well,
I
then
don't
that would show that you're not.
look. They hit the crossbar, but they had their chances. They hit the crossbar. They had a lot of BS on top of the box rather than taking opportunities on goal. They're all trying to look for one another and pass the ball. They, old Barcelona, which they want to walk the ball into the net. And so that's something they got to work on. But that's their own problem. Worry about. Let them worry. I don't care. But again, I don't think it was a spectacular performance. I just don't, for the life of me. I can't sit here and tell you it was a spectacular performance by Benfica.
Yeah. No, I didn't say it was a spectacular. I thought it was a respectable showing. And I don't know if you know Graham Hunter. Graham Hunter is a pundit, and he has a very famous podcast.
Can't
And
be that famous. He never had us on.
He's a big Barca fan, and he did say that one of the things that impressed him the most was how well organized Benfica was, and I respect that. And this is by a guy that knows football and was at the stadium.
What you trying to say? I don't know football.
But anyway, no, you do. But I'm just saying, there's different. People have different opinions, and your opinion should be
that's
the
fine.
end all be all.
No, absolutely. Everybody's got a different opinion. I'm open to it, but I'm just look again. If that ball doesn't hit the crossbar and goes in, all of a sudden, oh my God, they're so well organized. You're not talking about any of that. Again, look, it's part of soccer. I get it, but I don't think Benfica defended any difference today than they did in previous games.
Yeah, I just think that miss will go down in history as one of the like the Brian Ruiz miss.
Yeah,
this is go down in history.
But the different, but he's got an opportunity here to be given a lifeline. If Benfica beat Kiev, Bayern beat Barcelona, you'll forget about where Ruiz lost the title on that. It's totally different. In a title that they hadn't won in 17 years or 16 at the time, whatever it was. So.
Dave, next up, Bulnissad. What's Bulnissad been up to?
B-Sad not up to that good so far this season. 16th position with 8 points from 1 win, 5 draws, and 5 losses. Club fired Petit earlier in October 19th. And since then have won twice, drawn once, and lost once under new manager Philippe Candido. Is that that's how you say it? Yep. And historically, 5 wins, 1 loss, and 1 draw against B-Sad.
Right. Cristiano, here's a scenario, right? The scenario is this. Coming off a European game, playing against a team that's lower on the table, with Sporting on the horizon.
It could be one of those get you moments. But I think
they can't treat it like a trap.
Yeah, they can obviously. Look, man, I come on here for I don't know how many years now, Alfredo, and I say the same thing over and over. Doesn't matter who we play. I mean, we should always be ready to play these games. I think JJ should get his men ready. Look, we worry about today. Well, we're about Sporting tomorrow, but today, the most important game at hand is the game that we play today. And I think if Benfica really has that championship quality in them and they want to get to where they, to the top of the mountain as the best team in Portugal at the end of the day, they have to win these games. Look, it's part of being a good team. You're going to play European games during the week. You're going to play domestic games during the weekend. And that's what big boys do. It's big boy soccer. And so you've just had, what a lot of people are considering a very good performance at Camp Nou. There's no reason not to go ahead and beat the likes of B-Sad. There is absolutely, if that happens, then JJ's got to find something else to do because that means he's not getting his team ready.
Yeah,
regardless of who gets on the field.
Yeah, we cannot let up. We cannot have a let up against B-Sad, especially with Sporting on the horizon. And look, you want to show progression during the week till during the season until you reach the top. And we thought that Benfica had some good performances early on. There was a dip, and now it looks like after the Braga game, we're looking like we're on an up and up. But we have to continue. We have to continue to put together performances and beating teams.
Yeah, I mean, look, your schedule is filled with games like these in Portugal.
Yeah.
With the exception of what? Braga, Porto, Sporting, and Guimarães, maybe. These are the games you're gonna have to play, man. So you got to win these games. It's gonna be difficult. These teams are gonna look. If I'm the opposition, I would just sit back and I give the ball to Benfica. Tell them go ahead, Martins.
Yeah, Benfica needs to find a way to break down those low block teams
Mhm.
because
We struggle.
we
forever.
struggle. When we have space behind the defense, we could do it. So that's the biggest challenge right now. And a lot of teams will take a page out of that playbook to play Benfica like that because you know that we'll struggle. They know that we'll get frustrated. They know that we'll eventually open ourselves up to a counter by pushing men forward. So it has to be up to JJ to prepare the team and in the same manner that he prepared the team today, which I thought it was good. So what else we got before we go? I want to before we go, I want to send a big hug to Denny Pinto.
Yep.
And if you guys know Denny Pinto runs the excellent Seleção Pod. And I'm sure the past couple of weeks have been very rough for him. I feel for him. And I know that there's been some sleepless nights in the Pinto house. And if I was close to him, I would give him a hug. But I know what the struggle is there with the national with this national team, and that's why I don't watch national team games.
Well, you know why we lost because we played at the Estádio da Luz. That's why.
Oh, that's what it was.
it's as simple as that, yeah.
Pinto Costa said that if they had played at the Dragão, we wouldn't have lost. He said that.
There you go.
Shannon, what you got to say for yourself?
No, I wanted to read Carlos Amaro's fun fact.
What's Carlos Amara's fun fact?
We all only have 2-3 minutes to live, but the clock resets every time we take a breath. Okay, that's a fun
That's
fact.
deep. That's deep.
I had a fun fact too. I wanted to throw in myself before I read his fun fact, which was to piggyback on this Graham Hunter and in his praise of Benfica. I still recall a few years ago, Pep Guardiola was impressed with Rui Vitoria's Benfica defensive team. So, hey, and I think he knows soccer as well. So take it for what it is.
No, I'm actually. I have the video here, and I mean, I could replay it for you guys to listen to. And actually, Steve Santos sent this to me.
Stevie.
Fan. Yeah. If you're a Barca fan and nothing else, maybe a little bit frustrating. One of the things that might get lost, apart from Lisbon, in the fervour about how differently Barcelona played, the fact that Xavi's now back and coached his first Champions League game, one of the things that might get lost is that Benfica are superbly organised. Whether you particularly like Jorge Jesus, who is a match of entertainment on his own on the touchline. We knew this, but boy, he's explosive. It was raining biblically here. I mean, so wet that down at the end of the tunnel where the pitch starts, there was a swimming pool. It went up to my shins. But Jorge Jesus was yelling so angrily with such heated words that I swear to you, in the middle of the deluge, he dried his players' shirts. That's how ferocious that man is. Xavi, largely expressionless and calm, even when Memphis Depay was missing chances. When the Araujo goal went in, it was ruled out. The explosion of noise for 49,000 people. For my eardrums.
Well, you get the gist, right? So that was Graham Hunter on Twitter. At Bumper Graham.
It was
If
intense,
you want to check, but
Dave, it was intense, right?
it was expected.
That dude
JJ
almost
is
drowned. There was a flood. JJ was soaking wet. I mean, that dude made it. It's like a movie, a drama.
I didn't know if we were playing in the Santa Clara
Yeah.
by that description.
with that
there.
British accent. They always make everything sound a lot more interesting. Like, yo, I want to hear the rest. I'm gonna go upstairs and check out the rest of his interview or whatever it was.
Anyway, that's all we got for you this week. Next week we will look back at the B-side game. We'll look ahead to Sporting. Big game for Sporting. For those of you in the U.S., happy Thanksgiving. Obviously, Thanksgiving is a day in which you spend giving thanks. If you didn't know,
Or eating turkey and watching football.
right? And
Whichever.
I wanted to thank all of you fans that take the time to listen to our podcast every week. Certainly appreciate it.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Cristiano.
Don't forget to check out BenficaIndependent.com for all the great content.
Okay.
And everybody else, have a happy gobble day. Don't eat too much. And I look forward to chatting with you, Freddy's, again next week here on Benfica Podcast.
Dave.
Yep, I'm off. I like to celebrate that American Thanksgiving and watch football and drink and eat good food up here too. So I'm all for those holidays.
Good deal. Take care, everyone. Have a good week. Enjoy Thanksgiving. Later.